from welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. I was going to go silent the whole time to open.
Nah, it's ridiculous. Perfect. I'll take it over. I'll take it over if you can't do it. It's fine.
Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you since we had John Deaton.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea.
We were just laughing so hard before this.
We were laughing right before we started. Did Garlinghouse predict the date of the win over the SEC? That's the big question of the day. And are we going to answer that one? Hopefully we'll get to it. But Garlinghouse at the what was it? DC Tech? What is it called? DC Fintech Week.
Yeah.
So he spoke yesterday. Some real gold. We're going to go through that. We're going to take 5 minutes, make it into about an hour show. It's going to be amazing. We got some other great things to cover as well. A lot of Ripple, a lot of XRP, a lot of DC Fintech. We're going to tell you who was at the DC Fintech. Who were some of the speakers? Good, bad, and indifferent. That's what's really interesting about it.
I guess. Let's go.
Ready to kick this?
Welcome to On the Chain.
Here's to the first half of 2023. Right there.
First half, baby. It's the first half. So, you know what? Does Gary Gensler really think anybody takes him serious at this point? I mean, he's such a weird dude. I mean, like when he tweets something, every comment is bad. Everything in there. Does he just send it off and say, "I'm just doing my duty"? I mean, does he have a filter so that one person who's related to him, or a friend like his neighbor, and feels obligated to say something nice? Like he's got the Gensler filter. It's like his Gensler filter is different than our Gensler filter. Well, look at this one. And so he's like, yesterday I had a chance to sit down with the problem and talk about equity market structure and a number of other topics. Check out my conversation with John Stewart. So I've attempted a few times to watch this on, and I hate to say it, Jeff, but it's on Apple TV. I really hate to say that, but that's where it's located. So, you know, obviously I have Apple TV, but I try to put it on, and it's appropriately named The Problem. And so if you want to see the biggest problem in crypto, Gary Gensler, The Problem, goes on the most appropriately titled show ever called The Problem. He's like, I sat down with the problem. He's like, look at this, Jeff. He says, I sat down with the problem. Gary, you are the problem, dude. And the funny part about this show was it doesn't get any viewers. Nobody watches it. I mean, and for some reason it's still on. I don't know why. I mean, Jon Stewart, when he did the Daily Show, at least it was funny and clever, and whether you agreed or not, he was funny. But you know what's weird? It's like a lot of times these comics, they age. If you look at Jon Stewart when he was like 24 years old and had long hair, and he was a really funny comic. As he's getting older, he's
not so much.
He's getting grumpier, and dude, he's not that much older than me. He looks like he's got one foot in the grave. I'm like, what's going on with this guy, man?
No, I tell you, I mean, it's kind of crazy. You know, the direction things are moving in, obviously a little bit polarizing. Gary, the G-Man, is definitely a polarizing character. And
definitely.
You know, it's great though, you know, because you got to have a little bit of comic relief, a little bit of levity, you know, even with all this stuff going on. So, you know, it's so irrelevant. You know, I wonder how many people in the audience here have tuned in to actually listen to Gary the Problem Gensler, or Gary Gensler on The Problem, however you want to reference it. Talk about all those great things. What in the world could he talk about? Everybody has a lot of disdain for him.
You know what I was hoping he would do? I was hoping that somebody would have watched it and would have taken, like, because the last time he was on there, Jon Stewart had like one question. It was like, if you think about it, it seemed like a tough question. It's just a normal question, but considering how he tiptoes through all these little softball interviews, it was pretty good. So John Deaton commented on this, and he said, Mr. Chairman. You know when he starts calling him Mr. Chairman? That's serious.
Now we're getting
Mr. Chairman, you go on popular podcasts. Okay, that's gratuitous. Okay, that I don't know if it's that popular, but let's say you go, but not to Congress. You cut videos about one of the most popular people on earth, Kim Kardashian, for $1 million, well, $1.15 or $2 million fine, but then you refuse to acknowledge the 75,000 XRP holders with a $15 billion loss with a B, that's right, to individual wealth. Respectfully, sir, your priorities suck.
Did Gary respond to that? What was
Something
Gary's
Gary
response?
did. Well, the response is down here where, Anton said, thank you. And then Mike Preston said, you had me until respectfully, sir. Gary deserves a zero respect, sir. And Tim Gensler resigned said, what did he say? He didn't say much. He's hashtags there. So yeah, there's a lie. Couldn't agree more is one of them. There you go. XRP not a security. So yeah, you see all of the XRP club is in there. And then Sulin says at Zerbillion says, and for that reason, Charles,
Love
me
you.
bring him into it. Charles Hoskinson loves you, Mr. Chairman. Sure, you won't be called an angry locust by him. Angry locust? That's a new one. Mr.
That's a
Gary
good
gets
one. I like that. I have to use that one again.
His
An
priority is
angry
to be
locust.
U.S. Secretary of Treasury. Like that'll never happen, Jeff. First of all,
No,
this guy's worn out his welcome.
I think he's done. Oh yeah, he's definitely worn out his welcome. Nobody's giving him any love anymore. The Wall Street crowd, they don't like him. The Wall Street bets crowd don't like him. The whole anything that has to do with finance, everyone's waking up to the Gary Gensler, and they're not too happy.
Not at all. So I've been having issues with my fiber
that's how
today.
it
I'm
goes.
freezing. I don't know why I'm freezing
Yeah, I
up here.
saw that.
But
Now you're frozen.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Now you're speeding up. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. That's why my fiber's bad or something. You try to switch over to the other one.
So anyhow, Chip, check this out. So Fintech Week has been this week. Started yesterday. DC Fintech. Why is it in DC? You might ask. It was actually hosted by Fannie Mae of all places. Now, Chip, I don't understand that. The Institute for Financial Markets. I get that one, but how does Fannie Mae get behind this? And then I look at some
Fannie
of the
Mae's still in
attendees.
receivership, so just FYI.
Yeah. So, it gets a little more bizarre because here you have Jeremy Allaire, co-founder, chairman, and chief executive of Circle, right? You've got Patrick Collison, co-founder and chief executive of Stripe. Then you got Michael Barr, Board of Governors, Federal Reserve. Mayrid McGinnis, Commissioner for Financial Stability, Financial Services, and Capital Markets for the European Commission. Yoon Choi, Director of National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, U.S. Department of Justice. Look at that. That's the actual crypto enforcement team. Did you? That's interesting. She's the
I didn't know there
director
was
of the crypto enforcement team.
But I didn't know there was one at the Department of Justice. I'm only aware of the one over. I mean, there's one over at the SEC.
Yeah, so we
CFTC.
know. So that's interesting, right? Then you got Sam Bankman-Fried, we know, founder of FTX. Sandra Thompson, director of Federal Housing Finance Agency. That's a little odd. Chairman, U.S. Commodity of Futures Trading Commission. That was Rostin Benham. Charles Hoskinson, your buddy, right? And then Maxine Waters, U.S. Rep and chairwoman of the Financial Services Committee, that for the past 4 years plus has held up and not given any discussion time to guess what it was? The Token Taxonomy Act.
Nothing. But Jeff, I will say this though. You can't see this on the podcast, but she has the best photo. There's no doubt. I don't know. She has a professional photo.
Have
nice
to
blue
agree.
background
Really amazing photo.
And Patrick Collison's hair looks weird. I thought he was like tattooed or something. I don't know what's going on there. Some bizarre thing. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's kind of a weird mix of characters, but that's only some of them. That's not everybody though.
So then we get into the day, right? So we start looking, okay, what went on yesterday? It was at the showroom. Today it was actually at the Fannie Mae headquarters.
But by the way, I've been there, Jeff. Just let you know that I have been at.
And it was
Fannie Mae
looks like
HQ.
it was a block away. How is it pretty cool? Because they hosted a pretty
It's
big
super
event.
big. It's large. It's a giant. Yeah,
So
it's in
so
DC there.
yesterday, Chip, around 11:30, 12:30. Here we go. Yesterday around 12:20 for looks like 25 minutes. Guess who was enterprise crypto and the regulatory perimeter? Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. Right before the networking lunch, right after community-based crypto kind of fell right at a key point. And
It's a bad time slot though. That's usually whenever he breaks for lunch. It's like 12:20 to 12:45. It's
people
couldn't have
are a
given
little
a
bit
better slot.
hungry.
That really
But
good
let's
slot's 10 a.m.
but
Not too early, not too late.
if you look at their opening welcome remarks, this is totally government time. So they started at 8:45. Most workshop conferences that I go to, they always start pretty promptly around 8. They have
8 o'clock always.
breakfast is around 7.
Always.
Then they start at 8. So here people are rolling in welcome remarks at 8:45.
Well, Chris Brummer puts this on, but you remember when Chris Brummer was the name that was floated for, I think it was the chair of the CFTC, and it might even have been the SEC at one point. And this guy would have been, this is the true guy that, and Chris Brummer is great. First of all, he's a really great interviewee and interviewer, and he's a fan, unlike Gensler, who taught it. MIT is wow. What can I tell you, man? Whole thing is bizarre to me.
So Chip, so we've got 20 minutes of Brad Garlinghouse. We're gonna play maybe the first 5.5 minutes of it. Thank you, James Rule XRP, for posting it up on YouTube. There are a whole bunch of different versions of it posted on YouTube, and I found one. Actually, James Rule XRP put it up there, and we're gonna get to play the first few minutes of it and dissect it. And Brad Garlinghouse actually had some very interesting things to say. Some of it we were actually kind of dissecting on Sunday night with John Deaton, as it references the Howey test and some other things that are coming out of the case in the near future. So let's pull this up. We're full screen, and let's play. What we'll do, Chip, we'll play, we'll pause, provide a little commentary. I know people like to listen to it all the way through, but
Right back.
then it won't be as fun. So Chip's going to go and try to fix his stuff. And in the meantime, we're going to go and we're going to play through this and, see what we have to listen to. It'll be, really interesting. I've got it queued up in around the 5-minute mark, 5:40, I think it is. He has some really interesting things to say about his perception of where the case is going. So let's play this. Ready, Chip?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Where Ripple is with its lawsuit with the SEC, that little known lawsuit. So for anyone who hasn't been,
anyone you can zoom it in a little bit more. Is this how it is in their video?
That's how it is in their video. I could probably zoom it. It's got all their cool stuff around there. Let's see if I can. Nope, it's not gonna let me zoom in. We're full screen with all this stuff.
Okay.
Let me back out for a second. Let's pontificate for a minute.
There you go. So yeah, I mean, well, I understand they added the sponsors in there, but it's not so easy for us to actually look at it. But it's all right. It doesn't matter. I mean,
let's see.
We only need to really hear it. It's not that big of a deal.
How's that? That's not bad.
Put it back in.
It might be okay, but I don't think I can play it then.
You think you took it out for a second, though?
I lost my play button. So I'm just going to have to go full screen.
There you go. Let's do that.
We're going to have to suffer.
Let's do it.
Following the case, the SEC sued Ripple in 2020 for allegedly raising money by selling its XRP token.
No, did they? Did they sue him?
Which the agency said should have been registered as a security. You recently won access to some documents.
They should have a sound effect when they say, they said Ledger's a security. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
There we go.
And you recently said that you were talking. I mean, man.
Okay. Speed it up.
You were seeking. Both sides have also asked for summary judgment. So maybe give us kind of an update.
State of the state.
The state of the state. Where do things stand, and what's the significance of where we're at?
Well, it's great to be here. It has certainly been a busy couple of years. As you said, the SEC first filed a lawsuit against Ripple and actually myself and Chris Larson in December of 2020. So it's been almost 2 years. And look, I think at the beginning of this, we actually made the public statement that, like, this isn't just about Ripple. This is really about the whole industry. And I think at the time in December 2020, people were like, no, it's not about the whole industry. Today, I think everyone acknowledges how important this is for the U.S. and the U.S. leadership around crypto. This is obviously, I think everyone would agree now, a pretty bellwether case.
Chip, I think, starts out strong, right? And think about where he was 2 years ago and what he was saying and referencing, that he came out right away and they said, this is a case about crypto. It's not just SEC v. Ripple. It's not about Ripple. It's not necessarily about the XRP, but it's very specific to, this is about crypto. This is the SEC against crypto. And, kind of like, when how they looked at Amazon, they said, you're never going to succeed selling books online. It's almost the same thing. They're looking at Brad Garlinghouse and basically saying, you're crazy. This isn't about crypto. It's just about you, and what's turned out.
And the funny thing is, all the naysayers, all the ones, and they kind of had that, oh, hey, you know what? It kind of looks like this is about crypto, right? So there's a bunch of them that kind of came out of the woodwork that kind of owned up to it and said, yeah, they're going after all the crypto. But I think, the library case also lent some credence to that as well. You had library, then you had some of these other things. But meanwhile, Gary Gensler's going after Kim Kardashian and does a whole video on, and all of the B-roll he pulled for that, all the shots to show content creators, they're all dumb, they're making funny faces and doing dumb things. It's almost like he's putting down the entire industry, and Kim Kardashian did this, and Kim Kardashian's like, okay, how much is it? Yeah, okay. Let me sell you the money, man. I'll send it into an XRP. That's what it would have been cool. Is imagine if Kim Kardashian was a wicked smart ass and she said, hey, you know what? Since you guys run a node over there at the SEC, I'm just gonna give me your wallet address. I'm gonna send you the $1.125 million fine in XRP, and you'll have it in 4 seconds.
Be instant settlement. Yeah, 4 seconds.
Any questions? I can't think of one. Can you imagine that?
That'd be amazing. Oh, that'd be awesome.
And you know what? And what she'd be demonstrating is that it actually has a use case. It has a currency, and with the full remittance in 4 seconds. So she would be demonstrating through paying a fine one use case. I mean, that's one use case. Like, everyone's brought up the use cases. Did anybody talk about the fines you can pay an XRP to the SEC? Because that's another use case.
Right? That's
another use case.
What's another use case of XRP? Paying the SEC fines.
Pay your fines.
Instant settlement.
Even if they
rapid instant settlement.
And if you're Ripple or Brad or Chris, and let's suppose they get a slap on the wrist, or in the summary judgment says, look, you'll lose the case or whatever, or there's, they split the baby type of thing where, okay, you're going to get a fine, but listen, this is just garbage. It's a digital asset, completely decentralized. And if you're Ripple, you just pay the fine. You say, like, okay, but we're going to pay an XRP though. That's it. I'm sorry, we're going to do that.
That's how it is. It's just how we choose to pay. We're currency agnostic.
Meanwhile, everyone's like, just put Brad Garlinghouse back on. Shut up.
I know, exactly. Jim D is saying Judge Netburn is doling out lots of amicus curiae seats to the Ripple side, and it's looking very interesting, looking more and more interesting. Thank you for your support as well, Jim D, as an OTC member, as is legendary Van Life Biker. How was the meal the other night? Now, they're talking side talk. I also want to give a quick shout out to K HUD for the support as well. No, I tagged it in there. There you go. Florida meetup for real this time.
Gosh. Let's do it. Not on the West Coast, though, Jeff.
No, we're gonna do it over here someplace. We'll do Southeast FL.
Yeah.
So, all right. There we go. Let's check it out.
Where the case stands now is both sides, the SEC and Ripple, have filed motions for summary judgment, which basically means, hey, we don't think we need a trial. This isn't a question about the facts. It's a question about the law. We think the law is very clear. And the judge, those will be fully briefed and in front of the judge by mid-November, and then the judge will take as much time as the judge wants to take to make that decision.
Oh, there's something really poignant that's going to be coming up here in a minute.
Well, question about the fact. It's not a question about the facts. A question about the law.
The law.
That stood up. Well, the facts. There are facts in the case. I mean, but I do get what he's getting at. It really comes down to the law. And was there a violation? Negates. There was no violation. That's a big negative on that one. Look at this, K HUD.
Not a K HUD.
Brad looks.
Then with the next level.
Brad is
good.
like, look, this is how it's going to go down, man. People, listen. Let me just lay it on you right now. That's what I love about Brad. He's got so much confidence. Does he look nervous? Does he look concerned? Does he look the least bit worried? He's more animated than ever.
In the lawsuit, Chip. Ripple's named in the lawsuit, and he knows the facts are on his side and the law's on his side, and he seems super, super confident. Gary, the G-man, on the other hand, when he gets up and speaks, he does not exude confidence whatsoever, and always then falls back on his enforcement tactics, which is very telling.
Which is very tiresome as well. Thank you for that, K HUD. Appreciate it. It's always the same rattling on goofiness nonstop.
XRP panic, Chip. He's a millionaire. Why would he be worried? Well,
right. That's where he's confident. He's confident about his portfolio and meeting with them 7 or 8 times during his tenure at the as the SEC chair.
Well, even with XRP holdings that he has, sitting and hovering in the 48-cent mark, he's sitting on a nice little bag of XRP, and I'm sure other digital assets plus the value of Ripple. I'm sure he's doing pretty well. It's all good. All right, let's continue.
One thing you commented on that I think is worth spending 1 second on, the judge, so there's some notes associated with for the crypto industry, a very well-known speech that Bill Hinman gave in June of 2018. And in this speech, he said that ETH had, I'm paraphrasing, but ETH perhaps had been a security, but had transitioned to not be a security because of its decentralization. And, that's not actually what the law says. What the law says, there's no mention in the Howey test about decentralization, but that speech was really, really important. And the judge now, over the last 18 months, has ordered the SEC to turn over the notes associated with that speech 6 times. So the recent discovery ruling that went our way is just the 6th time. And the only reason I mention that is because the SEC obviously celebrates disclosure. It celebrates transparency. Like, why can't we do the work as the SEC and as a federal government to actually define and provide clear rules of the road? And if we had those, I think everyone would actually, the industry in the U.S. could thrive, much more easily than what we're dealing with now.
Chip, that though he made some really solid points there. He's referencing the Howey test. He's saying that the Howey test doesn't even, there's nowhere in any of that, the points of the Howey test that reference decentralization, doesn't reference cryptocurrency, and even the way the SEC goes about it, and we talked about this with Deaton the other night, the prongs of the Howey test, they even got those wrong.
Got those wrong, yeah.
One
the other thing too is
of one prong.
And the fact there's got to be a contract too. If you go to the securities laws, it's like, I know they made up this cute little test and everything. I'm not a big believer in it. It's still interpretation of 33 and 34 securities laws. I know it talks about the scheme and, counting on the efforts of others, but that's all Gary talks about. The problem is you need all 4 of those present for it to be a security. And the bottom line is, Jeff, we have to really go back to that when this thing first dropped, almost 2 years ago, when you and I we were doing a weekly show, and that's when we started streaming pretty much all the time. We started streaming every night just to try to get ahead of this. And we looked at it, and we're like, this is what? None of it really made a lot of sense. And who can write 80 pages of nothing without even alleging fraud? It's just really ridiculous. Who thought we'd be this close, this far in? Are we going to have another big night on the December 20th? Remember we had like the 1 year anniversary of the filing.
We got to have the 2 year anniversary, and it'll be massive. We'll have another big night. We'll invite guest after guest after guest in. Remember, that was fun. We did that. So we'll have to plan that again. I don't know what day it falls on. We'll have to check that out.
It's the 10th, right? The 10th?
The 20th.
Is it 20th? 20th.
December 20th.
Yeah, the 20th is Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. So we did that.
All right. Well, we'll fire it up. We'll plan it up. So El Jefe, problem is they don't want us to thrive. That's a really good point. Doug says never interfere with a dying enemy, and that's interesting as well. We've referenced that.
That's a long shot sort of a quote for Sun Tzu, but
that's it. Yep. And then Hans Loaded just saying it sounds like a grand conspiracy, Brad. You got
doing your grand conspiracies, Charles Hoskinson's. Your grand conspiracy.
Grand. It's so grand. So now when we continue through this, Brad has got some really, again, every step of the way through this, very poignant remarks. And so, like I said, we'll get up to about the 5-minute 40, something like that. And that's kind of that'll cap things off that, we can kind of get to a moment. So hang on.
So in kind of the order that you were talking about, I mean, are you expecting that to help even in the case of summary judgment, or is this more of something that you're looking to help in the slim chance that the judge denies those motions and this goes to trial?
Well, I think the question we're asking is, what are they trying to hide? What is it in these notes that they have been ordered 6 different times to turn them over to us, and we still don't have them? Each time they've, filed appeals or, new derivations of attorney-client privilege. And, so for me, as much as anything, it's what is in these notes that they are so committed to not sharing with the world. And look, I think most people who look at this situation, I mean, I have no idea.
Chip, what do they have to hide? I mean,
everything, Jeff. I mean, 6 times you there's something to hide, right? They're worried about something. There's something in that one of those emails is like, oh, this isn't going to go over so well, especially if it's something like, well, what about this current? Like John Deaton said it the other night. He's like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about Cardano? And what about XLM? And what about XRP? So if those were up for something in the best part about this whole thing is that the SEC is kind of like, when a kid does something wrong, be like, teacher's like, where's your homework? It's like, I don't know, my dog ate it. And it just sounds silly. But the SEC was arguing one point that they had attorney-client privilege. And they're like, well, if it's attorney-client privilege, then it was an official statement of the SEC. They're like, no, it wasn't. It's like, just constantly on every side of it. And you're like, okay. And the judge even got frustrated at a bunch of points, like, hey, you got to be faithful to the law, not too faithful to trying to win a case here. But this is they fought it up and down 2 different ways, 3 different ways. It's insane. And I'm excited because we're getting to the end of it. So is this where Brad talks about the
this
predicts
is
when it might
yeah, we're getting closer, as he kind of goes through this. And I love that expression too. He's just like, what are they hiding? What is this? I don't know. And
probably
they must
nothing,
know.
Jeff.
Right?
They're probably not hiding anything important, I'm sure. That's why 6 times later.
Yeah, we're not going to listen. We're not going to pay any attention. They keep filing motion. So let's hear. Hang on.
I can't wait. I hope we get to see them. We'll find out. I hope. But if you step back and just think about this from the big picture, at the time, XRP, and people forget this, but at the beginning of 2018, before that speech, XRP was the 2nd most valuable digital asset after Bitcoin.
I didn't forget.
And then,
so this is really important. The next minute plus, this is just, he starts hitting it out of the park, and this kind of solidifies everything and everything that we talked about Sunday with John Deaton, and to hear Brad Garlinghouse now referencing all this stuff. And here he is. What I find the most poignant, Chip, is that they're not at Fannie Mae in the at this part of the conference. They're in DC. They have some key political people that are there at the event, like Maxine Waters, who stalled and held this thing up, and are somehow, I don't want to say in collusion, but in concert with what Gary Gensler is doing. And that these guys have been talking, discussing, planning all this stuff. And here's Brad Garlinghouse in the heart of everything, just throwing it back in their face. Look, he's just like this, and this, and this, and this, and the next minute is going to be a lot more. So
that's a good one by K HUD. What's Brad doing there? What's the caption? WTF.
Yeah.
Right there. Caption this. WTF.
Caption this.
What the
Fannie Mae?
What the Apex Crypto's late. I'm gonna give him a pass.
What's up? Apex Crypto just showed up. He was late.
Said he was sorry he's late, but that's all right, man.
Oh, that's all right.
People got things to do. Come on.
Man, oh man. Okay,
You know
here we
what I
go.
mean?
The SEC kind of anointed ETH, and ETH obviously has benefited from that. And
Wait a minute.
Anointed. You are
like-
now anointed. You are
Anointed.
Eve.
Oh.
Anointed. Oh, it's like anointed. How did I miss that last
Oh my
time?
God.
You
This
have
is
been
great.
anointed.
You've been anointed.
You, good sir, ETH, you have been anointed. Take your staff and your anointment oil and
Oh my
get on
God.
with your bad self.
James Rule just got off the pickleball court. James, by the way, this is the
Thank
video that you posted. So thank you, James. Thank you very much, James.
Yours must
You're
have been burning. Pickleboard. Yeah, pickleball. Pickleball is fun.
pickleball. Yes. It's interesting. It's kind of like, tennis meets ping pong
Yeah.
meets badminton with a wiffle
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I like the wood. You can smack someone right in the head with those that wood paddle.
All right. Here we go.
And then not too much longer, another year and a half later, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Ripple asserting that XRP is a security. And the nuances and the distinctions between, is something adequately decentralized to make it not a security, which again isn't what the law says. And again, I'll digress and maybe pontificate for 1 second. I think we all have to remember the SEC only has the power that Congress gives it by.
Hang on.
True story.
Hang on. Hang on a second. 503, 502. All right. Chip, this is important.
Let's
Ready?
listen. Let's go.
Is something adequately decentralized to make it not a security, which again isn't what the law says. And again, I'll digress and maybe pontificate for 1 second. I think we all have to remember the SEC only has the power that Congress gives it by statute, right? They don't just get to go and take power. Congress gives them that power. And in this case, it's the 1933 Securities Act that says, here you have to have an investment contract. And then eventually there was something called the Howey test, which we can talk about if it's
ridiculous.
Chip, they can't
Protest is
just
dumb.
take the power. They can't just take the power, right? They're granted power.
Well, they are granted not even necessarily power. They enforce what the existing laws in the books are. The existing laws in the books are murky at best, what Brad's basically saying here. So how can you enforce something that's it's not even clear? So that's the whole point.
Hey, Chris, Crypto Swell just got done surfing.
Yeah, go ahead and rub it in, man. I was just surfing, dude.
Just out. Let's see. James was playing pickleball, and Chris is out there surfing. We got an active community here.
Where were you surfing, man?
What else we got going on?
Congress is looking at JPM instead of what's right.
After they anointed ETH, and then a year later is when they filed the lawsuit. So that's very telling. All right, now this thing is
technically no. That was 2 years later because it was early 2018, and they didn't file a lawsuit in 2020. But,
true. Yeah.
I don't know. Fault them for that. But that whole is there more of this video, Jeff, or is that kind of like? Because I know it's a longer video, but
no, we're getting right to the climax of the video when he's going to reveal. He's going to reveal the timing. Now, Sophie was out roller skating.
Who roller skates anymore? That's awesome.
Chris was in Newport. Man, see this? We got some
Newport Beach.
Jackie's cooking some homemade dog food. There we go. So, man, people are super active right now. Very, very cool. All right, here we go. So this has got probably like maybe 20 seconds left.
Let's do it.
Roofing. All right, here we go.
Roof.
The weeds, but interesting, maybe.
We want to get into the intricacies of the
Georgetown law professors will find it very interesting, and yeah.
That's true. So are you getting any indication of when, this lawsuit will be concluded, when you'll get some sort of resolution?
Uh-oh, Chip.
Come on, man. You're just making me wait for it. I want to hear what he says. Next
And
week.
that's all we have for tonight. Tune in next week for
hey
the final
now.
conclusion.
Big tease, man. The big tease.
All right, here we go. Let's play this. Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Drum roll, please.
So I do think it'll be fully briefed in front of the judge by mid-November. Federal judges work at their own pace. And, I think it's very hard to predict. Maybe optimistically, you're talking about a few 3 to 4 months. Pessimistically, you're talking longer than that. I generally have tried to guide when people ask internally at Ripple, I kind of say, look, I think we'll have an answer the first half of next year. Whether that's the first quarter or second quarter, we shall see.
And at this point,
there you go, Chip. That is the official statement. What I like, November, and then the first half of next year. So whether it's Q1 or Q2, he feels fairly confident, not 100% based on the judge, obviously based on if there's any more shenanigans with the SEC. The one thing he also knows, Chip, is that guess what's happening in November that'll take place in January of 2023 is that we will for sure have a switchover within Congress. There's going to be a changing of the guard, so to speak, and things and the climate will be a little bit different over there. But regardless of that, the trend, the direction everything is moving in is right there, Chip. Q1 to Q2.
Yeah, I mean, I think John Deaton said like March timeframe area, and that's right on the cusp of right at the end of Q1. But again, this is such a monumental case. You really want the judge to get it right. So I'm okay if it takes, it takes a little bit more time. And no matter what happens anyway, either way, it's going to be appealed. It doesn't, but if she says to the SEC, go pound sand, well, then it doesn't matter if it's appealed because the green light will be open. And as far as everyone knows, it's business as usual. It's back on, game on.
Hey, the savvy granny is baking muffins to distribute to the homeless in her city. That's pretty good. And then Alchemist is saying, so to fellow crypto people then.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the sad part of it, Jeff. Man, that's
all right. That was awesome.
That's the really sad part about it. I want to get into this other story here. We talked about picking winners and losers, the SEC, this whole thing, and I kind of wanted to get in this. Caitlin Long kind of went, and we have that video too. But Caitlin Long, let me see, let me share my screen. Let me share. Here we go. There we go. So we have so many windows and things to share here. So there it is. Let's put us back on the side over here. So Caitlin Long blasts the Fed over the BNY Mellon entering crypto. And this is a whole article about it, but we have the video, and this is another one, man. Absolutely on fire. There it is right there. She speaks at a DAO panel with Ryan Babinski and Yal Ramon at the Camp Ethereum 2022 in Wyoming. Remember, she heads that bank in Wyoming. She filed her application 2.5 years ago. And you know what?
And then BNY just walks in.
BNY is like, oh, hey, we're BNY. Hello, everybody.
Whether crypto truly is risky.
Man, I'm not happy with what's going on with my fiber today. My 1,000 fiber just bit the dust. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to switch over again.
There's your 1K download.
It's just the AT&T fiber is not what it was advertised. I can tell you that.
What are you switching over to? Xfinity?
Yeah, I'm going to switch to Xfinity.
Yeah, both?
I do. You know why?
There you go.
I'm going to have to go... let's see. This might take a second.
It's always sucked. The whole point of the fiber is only good to the house, and sometimes not even to the house. So they're not running fiber the whole way. So they'll go to your box, and if your box is copper to the house, what good is the fiber?
I see that I'm talking, but I'm not talking.
Then you got no fiber in the house.
I don't know what's going on. It's either your computer or my computer, and this time it's my internet. It's messed up. 'Cause now
So
I'm
exit
on.
out. When you exited out before and came back in was great. There we go. We tell them to go check that out. So let's go to the keep agenda because we had some interesting stuff over here. One of them, since Chip is coming in, so there is one of Chip's favorite hangouts online, one of his favorite metaverses. They actually, when they built this metaverse, it cost about 1.2 billion to build. And I know Chip used to love hanging out there, but they only have 38 active users. $1.2 billion. Anyone telling you there's a metaverse today that's worked is lying through their teeth. So there you go, Chip. 1.2 billion flushed down the toilet, 38 active users. Super exciting.
They sure it's 38, and my gosh, that sounds like sounds a little bit optimistic. Are they sure that they're still
And,
alive, those 38? I mean,
and actually, before you go on to your article, so I know how much you love the Bored Apes and you love getting their NFTs. However, guess who's probing the Bored Ape? But none other than your buddy Gary, probing them for what? Unregistered offerings. How exciting is that? Look at that. U.S. Securities and Exchanges probing Yuga Labs, the creator of Bored Apes Yacht Club, over whether sales of its digital assets violates federal law, according to a report from Bloomberg, citing Chip, your favorite, an unnamed source.
why
So,
is this? Oh, but yeah, the unnamed source is my
unnamed
favorite.
source close to the matter, meaning nobody.
Nobody.
They spoke to,
And we
they made it up and they spoke to nobody.
that's what you say. That's what speculation equals. Somebody close, an unknown source close to the matter.
I was
In other
speaking to
words,
somebody,
speculation.
That's right. I spoke to an unnamed source that was speculating on things that were happening behind the scenes at On the Chain.
Speculation, Jeff. Let's try this if it works or not. Let me see. Because otherwise, I'm gonna have to do a direct plug.
Oscar. Gary is probing apes. There's a headline for you.
There is a headline. Man, this whole thing is just messed up tonight.
You're like,
Yeah, I know.
true max headroom.
Not happy with it.
They'll throw the video up. It should work.
I don't think it's gonna work, man.
To the question of whether crypto truly is risky within.
No, it's just cycling. Is it in the keep? Did you have to download that one?
I downloaded that one, but let me hang on a second. I'm gonna switch. Hang on. I'll be right back.
All right. While you're doing that, we're going to check this one out. Let me go over here and let's see what we've got. So this is interesting too. This is on Crypto News. All sorts of stuff going on regularly. So this one, Ripple will be the basic layer for the CBDCs and stablecoins. Will it drive XRP price? I think there's a little speculation there as to whether or not they will be the basic layer. However, a lot of things happening. The state of Palau is making progress with its CBDC development on the XRP ledger, which is pretty cool. A lot of things happening. You know, if we look at what's going on with Ripple and we look at the XRPL and you see the technology and the development, really is life-changing, life-altering, game-changing for on many different levels. Here, stablecoins are one of the focus areas for application on the XRP ledger. As of the beginning of this quarter, many development teams from various nations worldwide are developing stable digital currencies using the XRPL as their tech platform. And then here you've got Wrath of Commons shares a list containing stablecoin projects that are likely to succeed. And now again, think about any of those that said there are no use cases using XRP or XRPL. And here you have a number of stablecoins announced on the XRPL. So you have Stably, you've got Stasis, you've got Zago, Palau, and Novati. So lots and lots happening here. Really interesting. They have Palau rolling out a digital currency, and we see a handful of nations around the world that are looking for digital currency, looking for a stable coin, and mainly because their fiat has been very, very unstable, to put it nicely. The U.S. also looking at digital currency, and for the most part, you know, here you have them building, probably going to have maybe a private ledger. I'm not sure exactly how they structure when they're using the XRPL, but very, very interesting. So here, besides using XRP for their software, most are also active in active partnership with Ripple for their marketing and engineering. So it's amazing. Really amazing to see the development and the direction things are moving. And that's really my opinion why Brad Garlinghouse sitting back, so comfortable, just so calm, cool, collected when he's giving his presentation, knowing that what's going on at the level of the SEC is outrageous, is ridiculous. And if they had to minimize business in the US, they're expanding all over the world. So again, remember, this is a global phenomena. This isn't something that, although Gary Gensler thinks that the US will have authorization or authority, I should say, over Ethereum and Bitcoin and XRP or whatever asset they think they can have authority over it, it's a national or an international treasure. This is something that's utilized across the globe, and the XRPL, decentralized in nature. And we covered this the other day, that Ripple has now scaled back, and they no longer manage, and they actually moved away from another node. So I forget what the percentage, very, very small percentage of the node power, that's actually managed by Ripple, which is important. In addition, XRPL-based projects are developing stable coins with unexpected assets. So like the Novati Group, which is a Germany-based digital payment firm, they're working with Ripple, and here they're issuing an Australian dollar-backed stablecoin. So all you guys over in Australia, the AUDC. Then you have the RI, the ARU stablecoin will soon be available. Lots of things happening on the XRPL. Really exciting. So here, again, the development of Palau CBDC in association with Ripple started last November, so a year ago. The partnership initial focus was to create USD-backed digital currency for Palau. And again, when you have a very unstable economy, allowing them to create a digital currency that is then, and in this case, they want it to be US dollar backed. Things are moving so rapidly. I'm really wondering the direction everything ends up moving in. And years ago, as we start dissecting this, I really wonder at some point, does fiat currency, even though backed by nothing, obviously once we had it on the gold standard, does fiat currency then get, are they going to back it with a pool of cryptocurrency? And I think that's interesting. It's kind of like the SDR, the basket of currencies. Does a fiat get backed by a basket of decentralized asset? Something to think about if that's even relevant when things start moving and transacting towards decentralized currency. What is then needed in the fiat other than maintaining the sovereignty of a nation to maintain sovereign control over their currency? That really pushes things into a decentralization or decentralized framework, more transparency, more control of the people, or more control of the government by the people, which is also very relevant, and very important. So really good stuff with that. And then something else to look at, and this is interesting, as these things pop up, because here you've got, here we go. So here you have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins are about to outperform major asset classes. Now, this was a Bloomberg analyst. This was a week ago that this was reported, and really key. So here you have commodity analyst from Bloomberg says that crypto assets are gearing up to outperform the rest of the financial market. So think about that as we sit here kind of lazing through a massive bear market in crypto, but also bear market in our stock, because obviously we're going through some significant turmoil in the stock market. But for them to look and say the outlook for crypto is extremely, extremely positive and will outperform other financial assets. So welcome back, Chip, just in time. How's the status of your internet connection? You look relatively stable.
I don't know, man. It's like there's something weird going on my computer. Like the speed is it's incongruent. Like it's all over the place, man. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on with it. But it's always something. It's either you or it's me. It's never both of us, which is a good thing, which I think is, I think all in all is pretty good. So
I think it's planned. It's a planned
there's some sort of a,
destabilization.
there's
Yep.
some sort of a thing going on.
12,000 Brazil companies declare crypto holdings in record high. 12,000. August figures released by Brazil's tax authority revealed over 12,000 companies have cryptocurrency holdings. 12,000. That's pretty impressive. What say you?
I'm still a little bit weird here. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I will say this.
12.
Yeah, I just might have to just turn my video off. That might just be it. You just hear me. You don't need to see me. I'll do
Your video's pretty
this.
solid, actually.
It's still doing weird stuff.
Not on our side.
There you go.
Pretty solid.
So I want to put this up. So Srdan. So I have two community tweets here today, which is interesting because here
Srdan.
Srdan says XRP will not be able to pump over $1 until on the chain channel reaches 100,000 subs. Well, I've got some really bad news for everybody. Let's see, at the rate we're going and the amount of suppression that happens on this channel, Jeff, it could be another 3 or 4 years. That cannot be true. So I appreciate that. That's a nice thing to say, but man,
What kind of responses did Srdan get?
let's see. Jeff said that's unfortunate but true. You guys heard it here first. Thank you, Srdan. Just the plain truth as always, and I meant it. There you go. That's it.
That's it.
Should we say more? I mean, what else do you really need, honestly? And Jeff, you're going to have to play this one, but pull up the Oskar tweet in there towards the bottom because my computer's gone wacko.
Let's see. Oskar the Grouch.
Yeah. It says made some major discoveries.
Got it. Yeah, I got the tweet. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. You know, I like this one. Thank you, Oskar. Arnarsan, here you go. So Oskar made some major discoveries in the Hinman documents when I realized it's all just a game.
You gotta play the video, Jeff. You gotta play the sound on that.
Oh, shoot, there's sound on it too?
You blew it. You ruined it.
There we go. Oh, there we go. So much better with the sound.
That would be a fun game to play. I love it.
Oh man, that's awesome. Right. XRP is obviously not a security. What else did it say?
It says it right there.
But
there
I had
it
to do
is.
something.
Stop
I've got
it right
major
there.
investments in Ether. The only solution was to sue Ripple. Please send ETH.
There you have it.
And there you have it. That's awesome. Good stuff. A lot of fun. Good. It's awesome, Chip.
I just noticed they have these new. Oh, sorry,
You're
Jeff.
back. Full screen.
There's a solo button, but I mean, when you have other people, you don't want to solo the person. That's like a new. Do you see that new little button they have there?
What little button?
Oh, look down there on the bottom there on the thumbnail. See this little button in the top corner over your avatar there.
It's always been there.
Has it always been there? Never
Yeah.
noticed it. First time ever. Who notices those things?
I use
It's
it all
bigger
the
or
time.
something. It seems different.
Grayscale, Chip. Grayscale Investments files opening brief and lawsuit against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. What's going on, Chip? Man, the SEC is embroiled in a lot of lawsuits. Man. Here it says the brief argues SEC's denial of Grayscale's conversion of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust to spot Bitcoin ETF was arbitrary, capricious, and discriminatory. I like that. And
I love going
the
after it.
SEC.
I love it.
Man, it's awesome. It really is amazing. I mean, Grayscale should reach out to John Deaton and be like, John Deaton, we need your help.
Help.
You're totally frozen.
There we go. I'm just going to do that because I don't know what's going on today. It's all goofed up, messed up. Just be like, so weird. I don't know. There's always something going on. Who knows, man?
Banter is golden. Jim D, love it. Wall Street going on offense against the SEC. Bye-bye, Gary G. That's it, Chip. It's Gary G. You know who else said? You know who else had shared some love for Gary G? The crowd outside of his office.
So they're pushing him right off the cliff there, Jeff. Go, Gary, go right off the cliff. Big old arms out.
Goodbye,
pushing
Gary.
him off the cliff. See you later, Gary. Go, Gary, go. They want him out of office, Jeff. Let's face it. They want him gone.
Man, I'll tell you what, people are not happy. People are not happy across the board. It's just, man, it's crazy too. Obviously, we're looking, specific for some of these articles, but man, some of this is just crazy. Which I'm looking for the that video. You said it was in a tweet, so I think I found it here. Let's see. It was about a minute long. And let's see if we can, probably the volume on Twitter is probably no good. So we'd have to download it. You still there?
Oh yeah, I'm still here. Let me see if
it sounds pretty loud over here. Let's see if you can hear it.
Let's see.
Without us having to download it. Check this out. Is this it?
And it gets to the question of whether crypto truly is risky within the traditional banking system and the connectivity, because there was a major announcement this morning, which is that Bank of New York Mellon, which is, I believe, the largest bank in the United States by assets, has officially now entered Bitcoin custody. And the interesting question that is raised by that is that they are a bank holding company that is regulated by supervised by the Federal Reserve. My company, as you know, has a lawsuit against the Federal Reserve, and I am about to make some news. You will see a filing from my company in that lawsuit pertaining to the announcement this morning, because the Federal Reserve filed filings last week talking about the risk to the financial system from crypto. And then today, a Federal Reserve supervised bank holding company enters crypto. We've been waiting for 2.5 years to do that. And look what the Fed actually said last week versus what it did today.
Wow. Silence.
You're a pin drop there.
Well,
Holy cow.
Even Chris Brummer has nothing.
Holy cow. I mean,
good.
So that was
people are
that's
fighting
crazy,
back, Jeff. I mean, listen,
Man.
I mean, 2.5 years. They put out that statement last week that there's such a risk, the economy, and then BNY, oh yeah, you guys can, no problem. I mean, it's just rigged. It's rigged. Picking winners and losers. This is the whole problem with government. Government, free markets reign, not the government. There's too much regulation. There's too many. We don't need the SEC, the CFTC. We don't need any of this stuff. It's way too much.
It's completely out of control. I mean, everything is out of sync, across the board. Like Apex saying, she's not wrong. I mean, it's crazy. It's so outlandish.
Caitlin Long, I mean, God, what? And she's going after him too. I mean, look, I think everybody at some point should file a lawsuit against the SEC just for the hell of it, Jeff.
Sean is saying, hey, Jeff, new conspiracy with Caitlin Long. The new Caitlin Long grand conspiracy.
Well, I mean, it's not
I was thinking this too.
It's how it went down,
It's exactly how it went down, man. And look at Colin is saying, did you hear her voice shaking? Man, she was pissed. Did you see?
She was about to go.
She was fired up. She was shaking. She was so mad. she's like, they've been working on this. She has
all the right to be, though.
Right,
I mean, my God, it's ridiculous. But you know what?
Man.
She's going to hang him this time because, look, I mean, 2.5 years, they come out last week with that statement about the risk and the damage to the, and meanwhile, she has a lawsuit with them, but they go like, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just go over to BNY Mellon over here, the Bank of New York. It's just ridiculous, Jeff. And that Mellon family goes all the way back to the JP Morgans and all that. It's been around forever and a day. Especially you go to Pittsburgh, Mellon's everywhere over there.
Don is saying it's weird having a picture talk to me.
It's not that weird, really. It's weirder when I'm
Especially since you have a little
talking.
graphic, looks
Yeah, I
like
like
you're
how it
talking.
actually moves like that. That's all right. I mean,
Right.
it's the only way it would work. I mean,
Yeah, there we go. Put you in small.
just minimize it right there.
Oh, look at you.
Minimize. See
Look
what's
at you.
happening?
You're back. You're back in
I
real
think
life.
so.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Conan O'Brien here, there. Yeah.
Asherfall Hawk is saying, when are you having Charlie Hoskins on
If I
your
had to
show?
make a prediction, I'll go with the 10th of never. He doesn't seem to be too enthusiastic. Put that tweet out there the other day, Jeff, to say, hey.
And he responded. I saw his comment. He said, Chip, 100% coming on the show. Thank
no,
you
he
for
never
the
said that.
invite. It would be awesome. I know it'd be a great time. We'll bring Brad and Deaton on, and we'll have a nice powwow.
By the way, I blame Tony. He's the one that kicked that whole thing up. He asked him the question and the big dust up, and then Charles commented on it. And he asked him a legitimate question, but I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. I mean, Brad said it. You got to get rid of the effing tribalism. He said that, I don't remember. That was, I don't know, one of these recent conferences. He's like, it's killing crypto. He's right. I mean, what the hell?
That's right. Apex has a really solid point here. He said, I've been saying it since December of 2020. We either stand together or the government picks us off one by one. When will we as a crypto community band together? We're still not there yet. And 100%, we definitely have to band together. And what we're seeing, though, are some big players in the space are taking on some of these naysayers at the government level, so we have Kate Long, obviously Brad Garlinghouse with Ripple, a lot of big things, library. We saw I forget his name. Is it Jeremy Powell from Kraken?
Jesse Powell.
Jesse Powell. I was thinking Jeremy Kaufman from library. Jesse Powell from Kraken, and man, they're just swinging left and right. It's just. And remember when Brian Armstrong came out and had his speech, and then he had to back off because he went public. He's like, oh, that's right, I went public. I can't hang out with the guys anymore.
They can crush you, man.
And they wanted
6
to.
weeks. Six. What was that? What was that famous humor quote? He said he can get you 7 ways to Sunday or something like that. I don't know, some kind of funny quote like that. But anyway, that's all we have tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys being here. We will be back here on Saturday morning and Sunday. So,
Sean Thompson, everyone's going over to Berserker show. Berserker. I think there was a link in there somewhere. All right, Chip, we'll be back when? Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, guys. That's right.
Bright and squirrely.
Okay. We'll see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Ow! See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.